Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29, back again for another indie comic review. And in this indie comic review, I am also going to be reviewing a one-shot, which is called The Ninja Scouts and the Mask of Humbaba. And of course, Upshot's Fight Girls, issue 4 of 5. And I must admit, it's really nice to continue reading the Fight Girls. It's also sad too that it will be finishing off soon. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all ends, especially with the last issue. And I'm wondering if there might be a bit of a twist in the end. Not for this issue, but for the next issue. So, we might as well jump to reviewing the first comic which I'll be reviewing in this video, and that is Fight Girls issue 4 of 5. So, jumping into first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to anything that happens inside the story? Sure enough, it does, and I give this cover a 7.5 out of 10. Absolutely fantastic, and yes, it works with what is happening inside with the story and with the cover. So now it's time to jump to the art, to which we'll see some of the art around the beginning, middle, and of course the end. Now this part of the story takes place in a location called the Deep Mine in Halgrave in Sector 5 in the East End. Even though you don't see it pointed out on this page, it's actually pointed out on the first page before this. And what's actually happening in this scene. I'll now move towards the middle of the story. And this is some of the art around the middle of the story. And the characters that are fighting are Blackwater and Winter. And last but not least, some of the art towards the end of the story. So, after seeing the art, or after showing the art here in regards to this story, I decided to give the art, alongside with the cover, the same rating of 7.5 out of 10. Now, the next fun part is the story rating, to which I personally enjoy certain things that show up in my story, and if they're not in the story, it can also lose to a lack of points. Unless the story is that good that it doesn't lose those points, but it also gains it back pretty well. So, did we get any comic references to any of the previous comics? No, we didn't, but it probably wouldn't hurt to include it. Did we get any indication of time as to when this event was happening? No, we didn't. Moving into the next thing, did we get locations? Yes, we did, but we only got one location, but it wouldn't have hurt to included the location to where the tournament ring was. That I felt was actually missing in the story. We got the location of the Deep Mine Halgrave in Sector 5 of the East End at the beginning of the book. And the cast of characters were Blackwater and Winter. And of course you do find out which one actually wins their fight at the end, but I'm not going to give away the spoilers. I'll leave you to pick it up and work it out for yourself. But overall, in this story, we do end up having Black Winter and also Blackwater and Winter fighting in basically a combatants ring, to which they fight until one of the characters yield or dies, depending how it ends, until they get a winner. I won't give away any spoilers. Like I said, go pick it up to check it out for yourself. So overall, this story got a 7 out of 10 from me. I hope you enjoy checking this out for yourself, and I think you might enjoy what Frank Cho is also doing at AWA Upshot. And I do definitely recommend this comic and this series. Now it's time to move on to next. So now it's time to jump into the Ninja Scouts and the Mask of Humbaba. And as you can see, it's got quite an interesting cover. And you can see the relation to the mask there. And of course, the key characters who are seen as the Ninja Scouts. And you'll learn their names in due time, as I will be covering in the art of who they are. So for this cover, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside the story? Sure enough, it does, and I gave this art 7 out of 10. Correction, I gave the cover 7 out of 10. Now we move into the internal art, and where we start to meet the cast of characters. This is some of the art around the beginning. And sure enough, we also get time, location, as we move into the middle of the story, we realize that these Ninja Scouts have a little bit of a rivalry with some, well, pirate scouts. Arrgh. Very fun in that. And last but not least, let's move towards the end. And now as we move on to the end, we see things sort of returning back to the mask, which they had to take care of and stop its pillaging of sorts. Alright, for the internal art, I decided to give it a 6.5 because there was actually a little bit of art which they were trying to do with the mask. Yes, some cases it did look like a lion, but there was another case where it almost looked like the face of a rat as well, and that's where it sort of loses points. But apart from that, the story was still fun with how the art was done, and that's why it still gets the 6.5 out of 10 for the art. Now, moving into the story, what are some of the things that this story had? Of course, being a one-shot, a single issue, there is no need to include any comic book references. But there were some things that I did need to include, such as time, location, and of course the cast of characters. So, what did we get time-wise? Well, time-wise, we ended up getting 10:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning, which we learnt that was at the house of Simon and Paula Smith. We also got the Powell Municipal. We also got 12:30 p.m., which was held at the Powell Municipal Park, and 6:30 p.m., which was also connected to Tamara's bedroom in the story. And I thought that was really well done, and I enjoyed how that worked together with the story. Moving into the cast of characters, we had Tamara, Carlos. We also had the Humbara mask, which they said was connected to a demon. We, of course, had the Ninja Scouts, as well as the Pirate Scouts. And, of course, we had Tamara, who's one of the Scouts, Carlos, who's one of the Scouts, and Scott, who is also one of the Scouts. And then we also had the character of Arnold, who felt like a bit of an outside character, and also the character of Mary. For this, I gave the story overall a 6.5 out of 10. For what it was in this one shot, I think it was pretty fun. Even though it's not high on my list of things, I still enjoyed what I read. Well, until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.